Welcome to Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors. Talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors. Right here on Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9 FM, and KWSN 1230 AM, 98.1 FM, both out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo 104.7 FM. Today's Gone Outdoors is brought to you by Ray's Sport and Marine, your local Lund Boats and Bennington pontoon dealer in Moorhead. RaysMarineMoorhead.com. Adventure RV across from the Fairgrounds Inn, West Fargo, your number one RV dealer in the FM area. AdventureRVSales.com. Devil's Lake Tourism. Looking for wide open spaces, amazing fishing, and a refreshing escape? Discover Devil's Lake, where adventure, relaxation, and North Dakota hospitality come together. Plan your stay at devilslakend.com. The Outdoor Adventure Foundation. For over 17 years, the foundation has created life-changing outdoor adventures for youth facing life-threatening illness, injured veterans, and first responders. Learn more at outdooradventurefoundation.org. Strand Ace Hardware, Barnesville and downtown Pelican Rapids, proudly family-owned for 70 years. Valley Truck Gear, protecting your equipment. The Outdoorsman, and Onyx Fish Midwest, cast beyond the familiar. It is great to be back here behind the mics in the Gone Outdoors studio for another edition of Gone Outdoors, and we're so appreciative that you are joining us this morning. Again, wherever that might be. And I know for a lot of us, that can take lots of different places and forms. It might be work, it might be play, it might be somewhere in between, but whatever it is, thanks for tuning in to Gone Outdoors. And Scott, it is, here we go, right? Hang on, because summer is moving and it's moving fast.
It certainly is. We're pretty much in the middle of June already. A couple of weeks we'll be at the 4th of July. And once 4th of July comes, then the back to school ads are going to be coming out shortly after that. It's going to go really quick. So hopefully all of you guys, all of our listeners are making the most of it. Make those summer plans now and don't cancel them for nothing.
Yeah, just think, Scott,
do it.
Another week and the days start getting shorter again.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to think? I mean, it's the 21st, and the days will start. That'll be our longest day of the year.
Longest day of the year. We've got a lot of summer yet ahead of us, and a lot of long days, a lot of great sunsets out on the water, by the water, or wherever it is we might be. And certainly that is something we want to take advantage of, because as we know, we say it a lot here on Gone Outdoors, the seasons are awesome, each and every one of them, but each and every one of them goes by quick.
Yeah, they certainly do. Speaking of the summer season, Kyle, it is nice that we have been getting a little bit more moisture than we did last spring, because we need it. Our lawns need it so that we can mow the grass a little bit more so that it stays green. Our garden needs it. Our lakes definitely need it. And you know what else needs it, Kyle? The mushrooms need it.
Yeah, they do. An update on our trying to cultivate mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms. It was a year and a half ago that we inoculated these logs. You and I put some work into it.
Yeah. Hopefully this year. I'm guessing part of it is it hasn't been wet enough, and we could force them by watering them down all the time, but we want to do it as natural as we can. As natural as you can with drilling holes in logs and inoculating them.
Right.
But still, I can't wait till we get some of our own mushrooms that we grew ourselves.
Pretty fun. I know there's a lot of people who are out there foraging for mushrooms, and certainly now and really throughout the season and into fall, it's going to be mushroom season, and different ones bloom at different times. And, it's a lot of fun to be able to go out there, to take the precautions to protect yourself from bugs and bug bites and ticks and all that stuff. But get out and enjoy the woods. It's a beautiful time of the year to be out there. It's a beautiful time of the year to be hunting around for mushrooms. And it's pretty awesome when you can bring home a little bowl or a little baggie with some mushrooms and cook them up, and maybe something on the grill, maybe something on the stovetop, and put a meal on the table that you help to forage.
Yes, and if you like to go out into the woods, let's say you just like to go out hunt for morels, and you know what chicken in the woods is because that's relatively easy to identify. I challenge all of you to come up with one new mushroom this year that you feel comfortable with, whether it's pheasant backs, which are pretty easy to identify, whether it's oyster mushrooms. We have a lot of them in our woods, whether it's lobster mushrooms in a little bit later summer, whatever it is, get one new one. If you get one new one each year, within 4 or 5 years, you'll have a bunch of them that you'll know.
Well, I've got a lot to choose from. I'm not very diverse when it comes to my mushrooms, but I do know that my grandson came over to our front door here about a week ago, and he said, "Grandpa, I think this is a pheasant back mushroom, but I'm not sure. I need you to just tell me whether it is or not, because if it is, we're going to eat it." And he got it out in the backyard down by the river, and so that was pretty cool. That's his new one for the year, and being able to identify that on his own is pretty awesome. You know what else is pretty awesome, Scott? We got just another minute here before we got to take a break, but that is been doing these Lund Virtual Fishing League tournaments, and we had another one this past weekend, second one of the year. And this is for kids age 5 up through the summer after they graduate high school. It can be 2 kids fishing together as a team, or it can be one youth student angler and a adult as a team, 1 adult, 1 youth. And it's virtual. You can fish anywhere you want, any body of water. And I tell you what, we get to interview these top 5 teams that fish and come out on top. The first event, we had 300 teams, and that was a holiday weekend, so a lot of people were at the lake. We had 200 teams this past weekend, and to see these kids, and there were over 140 bass caught that were over 4 pounds this past weekend. The top teams, the top 5 teams, were all at a 7 bass average of 5 pounds of fish.
That is absolutely amazing. I know a lot of people have never caught a single 5-pound bass before, let alone to get a limit of them. And speaking of that, Kyle, the next event is June 21st, which is Father's Day. So if you're a father and you want to get your kids into this tournament, it's super easy. If you're a kid listening to this show, take your dad out with you because he would enjoy it. Trust me.
Yeah, they're a blast. They really are. We give away some trophies, some prizes. And then we take all the kids that enter, all of them, we put them in a hat. Figuratively, it's done through a randomizer on the computer, but we put them in a hat and we draw and we give away 100 $50 Shields gift cards to these kids. And they get to go to the store and pick out some more tackle. I mean, how cool is that? It's a pretty awesome way to enjoy a day and just even dip your toes in a little bit of what competitive fishing might be like. Scott, and speaking of dipping our toes in, we dip our toes into a little bit of different stuff each and every week here on Gone Outdoors. And this week is no different. Jeff Miller, he's a author. He is an outdoorsman, an avid outdoorsman, and he has just had one of his latest book released called The Golden Hour. We're going to hear from Jeff and find out what that book and his others are all about. Kamden Glade, Minnesota DNR fisheries research scientist. He's going to join us talking about the plan the DNR is working up right now that's going to guide muskie fishing and stocking and management of muskies in Minnesota lakes for this foreseeable future. Johnnie Candle, familiar face there, familiar voice from Devil's Lake. He's going to join us as we get later in the program and talk a little bit about what's going on up on Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and what the bite's doing up there. Folks, you're going to want to stick around. We got great stuff going on. We'll take a quick break now and be back with a whole lot of Gone Outdoors. Onyx Fish Midwest, covering 11 states on both iOS and Android. All your fishing information is one click away. Searching for new destinations by species, abundance, or trophy potential, it's all at your fingertips, including access points and shoreline ownership.
You get confused by special lake regulations? They're all on Onyx Fish Midwest. Real-time weather for your exact location, aerial imagery, and waypoint management, all right to your mobile device. Use code BA Outdoors to get 20% off your subscription at onyxmaps.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN in Sioux Falls or the mighty 790 in Fargo Moorhead. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And we have a gentleman that we've had on a few different times. He is very similar to all of us. He is a very avid outdoorsman, Mr. Jeff Miller. He is a Christian. He's an author. He's a father. And like I said, he is a very, very avid outdoorsman. Jeff, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Hey, nice to talk with you guys again.
So besides all of that, you're also a director of Cass County Soil Conservation District. I don't know how you can do everything that you do and still have time to write books from time to time. It's got to be a busy, busy life, but you got to love it.
That's right. Life is busy, but I was just talking to somebody the other day about how we wait in the winter for summer. Summer comes and it flies by, and then we wait for fall. So I guess I always try to fill as much in every day as I can and kind of live in the moment.
Yeah, if you're a hunter and you're waiting for fall, get out and enjoy the heck out of summer right now because it's coming and it'll be here no
comes.
matter what. It'll be
Yep.
here. Ice fishing season will be here. Get out and enjoy summer while you can because like you said, it's
That's
very
right.
short. So this past week, you released your latest book called The Golden Hour. And when you sent me the title, I thought, you are a smart guy because when you say the golden hour, every one of our listeners can think back to a memory of that golden hour because that is so special for outdoors people. And that's really, really cool. So how many books have you written now?
So this is my fourth.
Wow. That's pretty good. Are they all? So this is a compilation of stories, correct?
Right. Yep.
Are all of them a compilation of stories?
So 3 of them are. So I've written 2 that have to do with hunting, fishing, trapping. One that's more of modern homesteading, gardening, those kinds of things. And then my first one is actually a collection of short story fiction stories. So that's the only one that's not a compilation. The other 3, most of the stories have appeared somewhere, either in a magazine or a newspaper.
So what you're saying is you've written one that's fiction, but this one is not fiction. This is 100% true. Even the fish tales.
I was going to say, as much as an outdoorsman is 100% true.
I love it. Here's my question. Are you trademarking that name, The Golden Hour? Because there's only about 1 million different times people say that in the boat, the hunting blind, the deer stand. What a great title. I'm curious what some of the stories are about that you've put into this latest collection.
Yeah, so I kind of split it up into kind of four subgenres. So there's big game hunting, there's small game and waterfowl, there's fur trapping, and there's fishing. And I kind of wanted to split them up a little bit, that way in case you really want to read the fishing first, there's the section for it. But yeah, so it's, I tried, because some of the stories I'll write for magazines are pretty how-to stories, and everybody likes to read how-to stories. I tried not to put a lot of how-to stories in here. I wanted more kind of adventure stories, and not necessarily adventure halfway across the world, but, adventure kind of where you can find it. The first story in the book is about black bear hunting in Manitoba, Manitoba's great, but I don't get to do that every year. So I like to write about things that is kind of accessible to everybody, whether it's duck hunting or bow hunting deer or trapping raccoons, or something that kind of everybody can find time to do in their busy schedules.
So, Jeff, where have all these been published? All these stories have been published separately, I believe.
Yep.
Where do you do all your writing? Where are other places
So
that people can read this?
I think that last count, it's been over 20 magazines now.
Wow.
I would say probably the number one that I work with the most is Fur Fish and Game. It's been around for over 125 years now. So, that's a fun one to write for, because Fur Fish and Game kind of covers everything. It covers fishing and hunting and trapping and bow hunting and deer hunting. And it's a really fun magazine to write for. Some of the other ones have been in bow hunting magazines. I do some work with Bow Hunting World magazine. A lot of the trapping magazines, Trapper's Post, The Trapper, American Trapper. It's funny when you talk about trapping, is years ago, all techniques and stuff about trapping was very kept close to the chest, because people were making a lot of money on it. They didn't want any of their competition to know about it. Well, that's kind of changed now. Trapping is more of a hobby for most. So, and it's also kind of the outdoor pursuit that is the most misunderstood. During the 90s, especially with the anti-trapping, anti-fur movement, a lot of people kind of had the wrong idea of fur trapping. And, fur trapping's still around. It's still a time-honored, tested outdoor activity. But I do like to write about it to kind of let people know that, it's still something. It's a really great way to enjoy the outdoors. And kind of like you said, if you wait just for bow season, which I used to do, you wait a lot of year. So kind of trying to find something to do every part of the season is kind of the best way to enjoy the outdoors.
Well, congratulations to you on doing as much fur trapping that you do, because most of those furs are from animals that don't have a lot of predators. And if it wasn't for trapping, there would get to be way too many of them. So congratulations
Right, and
on that.
right, and it's a management strategy, just like deer or ducks or anything else. Unfortunately, it's just not as understood nowadays as it used to be.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think it's starting to grow a little bit more again now, hopefully. It's a great
I
way to
hope
get
so.
outdoors. It's a great way to get your kids outdoors. And I think more people are starting to see that, thanks to guys like yourself.
I hope so. Yeah.
So, where can we get a copy of this latest book or any of your past books? I'm sure if they can get a copy of the new one, the old one of the past ones might be right alongside it.
Sure. So, yep, the easiest spot to get it is Amazon. You can order it directly from Amazon. You can also order it from me, from my Facebook page, cottonwoodbendfarm.com. It's also going to be available on Dakota BookNet, which is kind of a North Dakota-centric book site. And in the future here, my last hunting one just sold out on Sporting Classics online bookstore, but they'll be getting more of those plus the new one here soon. But if you want it right now, Amazon's the best way to get it.
So what's next, Jeff? What do you
That's a
got
good
coming
question.
up?
Well, I'm gonna fish real hard this weekend, maybe, and but yeah, I'm thinking I've had a lot of people kind of ask for a second fiction book, and I've got to kind of sit down, I think, and put that together. I've got a lot of stories that I've got the kernel of an idea in my mind, and I'd like to kind of expand on it. And then I'll just keep writing my magazine stories too, and before I know it, I'll have enough for a third collection.
Well, good for you. Yeah, thanks for all that you do. Thanks for promoting the outdoors, and thanks for coming on Gone Outdoors. We really appreciate it.
I always love chatting with you guys.
All right, stick around. We will be back with more Gone Outdoors after the short break. This is Scotty and Kyle. If you're in the market for a new fishing boat, you've got to check out Ray Sport Marine in Moorhead. They've got a huge lineup of Lund boats, all powered by Mercury outboards.
From chasing walleyes to pulling the kids on tubes and skis, there's a Lund built for every kind of adventure, with a Mercury on the back to power through it all.
Visit Raysport Marine in Moorhead, just north of Menards, or explore their full Lund and Mercury lineup anytime at raysportmarine.com.
Welcome back to the second half of this morning's Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors, talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors here on KWSN and Kello News Talk in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo. We're excited to welcome back an individual we've had on the program before, but always interesting and fun to visit with. Kamden Glade, Minnesota DNR fisheries research scientist. Kamden, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
Well, first off, congratulations. You just grew your family. You just had a new child. That's exciting for you. You know, we wish you all the best with that. But on the work side of things, the Minnesota DNR is and has been really busy with some management plans for muskie. And with last weekend being the muskie opener, I know that's fresh on a lot of folks' mind. And you're the expert we turn to help explain some of this stuff. How and why are these management plans put together?
Yeah, so just a little clarifying point. This is actually a long-range plan, not necessarily a management plan. And the reason we do these long-range plans is really to give the department a vision for the future, kind of a where we want to go type of long time frame document, as opposed to more of an operational management plan that breaks things down into actionable steps. So this is just kind of a broad direction, really big time frame. We're talking about 15 years on this one, and really just gives us a good vision for where we want to go with the muskie program in Minnesota.
Hey, Kamden, when we first met you, you were a student and you were working on a fish study, a muskie study called the fish puke study. That's what our name for it is, and a lot of people's name for it, because you studied all of the stuff that was in muskies' bellies. So from that study, is there anything in that study that is helping with this muskie long-range plan?
Yeah, so that study, as well as a couple other research projects that have gone on throughout the state in the last 5 to 10 years, really helped give some Minnesota specific data for muskie management going forward. So we hear a lot of differing opinions on what we should do with muskies in terms of stocking and management. And a lot of this stuff, prior to some of this recent research, we were leaning on research that had been done in other states. A lot of it is probably transferable, but now we have good data from Minnesota lakes, so we can say with a relatively high degree of certainty what exactly muskies are doing in these Minnesota waters.
That is awesome. It's great to know that you're talking about what's actually happening right there in our own backyard. And you're going to be doing, or the DNR is going to be doing a webinar here this next week. And I want to make sure that folks are aware of that and have a chance to mark down their calendars and listen in, because I think there's going to be some really great information, certainly for those who are interested in muskies, but really I think just fishing in general. So what are the details of that webinar?
Yeah, so the webinar will be Wednesday, June 17 at noon. So if you've got some time over your lunch break, you'd be happy to tune in. We're really going to go through this new long-range plan. We're going to talk about how it came to be, what exactly is in the plan, how it's maybe a little bit different than some of the previous long-range plans for muskies, and then hit on some of the recent and ongoing research that's going on in the state as it relates to the new long-range plan.
That's awesome. Is this going to be something that's just generally open to the public? How do they go about logging in, connecting, participating in this webinar?
Yep, it's 100% open to the public and free to attend. You do have to register ahead of time. So if you go to the Minnesota DNR homepage landing site on the right-hand side, there's a tab for webinars, and it's under the Outdoor Skills and Stewardship series.
Did I see that this is going to be replayed on the website later? So if people can't catch that webinar, that they can catch it later?
Yep, it'll be recorded and then saved on the website after the fact. So if you have something else going on, but you want to catch it later, you can go to that same website, and we've got all previous recordings in that series there as well.
So I certainly we don't have time, and I don't want to steal anybody's lightning and thunder here with this webinar. But are there certain things that you can maybe preview for us that we might look forward to in that webinar?
I guess the one big thing from this new long range plan that we're really excited about is kind of a general shift in muskie stocking in Minnesota. Going back historically, we've really focused on fall fingerlings as the primary stocking product for a lot of lakes. Those did really well in the early stages of the Leech Lake Muskie program. But in recent years, hearing from anglers and biologists around the state, there's maybe some concerns that those fingerlings aren't recruiting and aren't contributing to the adult fishery like they used to. So we're going to be shifting here in the next 10 to 15 years towards more and more yearlings. So those fish will be essentially through 2 full growing seasons by the time they're stocked out. We're shooting for 15 to 17-inch fish at that time. And we really expect substantially higher survival off of those fish, anywhere from like 5 to 10 times higher survival, depending on the lake. So that is kind of the big picture. Here's what's different going forward with this new long range plan.
All right, Kamden, we know that you are a very avid muskie angler, and you're also, and at least in our opinion, you're one of the smartest muskie scientists in Minnesota. Even though you're so young, you've put so much time into it. Does that translate to being a better muskie angler? I'm sure there's times on the water you're like, what the heck am I doing? But do you think that you are a pretty decent muskie angler?
No, I would consider myself a very novice muskie angler. I was able to get out for a couple hours on Saturday for the opener. Saw some fish, had some action, but no fish in the boat. We'll see when I'm able to get back out here with the growing family, but not necessarily something I claim to be good at, but something I certainly enjoy doing when I've got a chance.
Well, that fits the mold of all of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, good, bad, or otherwise, it's about wanting to get out there and learn more and pursue these passions. And yeah, I can relate to that 100%. Kamden, anything else that our listeners should be aware of here as muskie season is open? Precautions, things that they need to think about when they're hitting the water, maybe trying to put a muskie in the boat?
I would just say, in the era that we are, where we potentially have some underperforming muskie populations, we really rely on good survival of those adult fish that potentially get caught multiple times by anglers throughout the course of the year. So if you're going to be muskie fishing, for sure, do that, have a good time. Just make sure you're prepared for when you catch a fish, have a nice big landing net, the proper tools you need to release those fish. Take good pictures, get a measurement if you want to, but get those fish back in the water happy and healthy as soon as you can.
Great advice. Great stuff for anybody, really any species. But you're right, that the muskies, that it definitely takes on a higher level of meaning with that population of fish. Kamden, one more time, can you share the website here for that webinar on the 17th?
Yeah, the easiest way is going to be to go to mndnr.gov. And if you scroll down a little ways on the right-hand side, there will be a tab for webinars, and it's under the Outdoor Skills and Stewardship series.
Fantastic. Kamden Glade, Minnesota DNR Fisheries Research Scientist. Kamden, thanks for taking a little bit of time with us this morning. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Folks, we're not done yet. We've got a whole lot more Gone Outdoors yet ahead of us. We do have to take a break, and when we're done with that, we'll be back with more Outdoor Talk.
At Acme Tackle, innovation meets results, from legendary cast masters to proven trolling and jigging baits that flat out catch fish.
When it's time to finesse, power, or fill the live well, reach for Kalen's Plastics. Lifelike action, proven colors, and the soft plastics that fish just don't let go of.
And tie it all together with Elliott fishing rods, lightweight, sensitive, and built for anglers who demand performance on every cast.
Acme Tackle, Kalen's Plastics, and Elliott fishing rods. Fish smarter, fish harder, and fish confident.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN in Sioux Falls, or the mighty 790 KFGO. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And, Kyle, I always get excited every time we get this guy on. For the last 10 years, I'm pretty sure we haven't missed even 1 year where we haven't had him on at least one time, if not twice. We have Mr. Johnnie Candle. He's a professional angler, he's an educator, and he's a mentor of ours. He's been helping us over the years with our professional fishing, with our educating. How are you doing, Johnnie?
I'm doing great. I'm out here living the dream. Ha ha. Surviving the weather every day and doing what I can to stay on some actively biting fish here in Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Yeah, it's kind of nice talking to you when you're only a couple hours away instead of halfway across the United States.
Oh, it's always fun to chat no matter where I'm at, guys. You know that.
Yep. So, and what I'm talking about is Johnnie now guides down in Carabel, Florida for the winter. So if you do have any winter plans, you can still give Johnnie a call and he'll take you out on the Gulf.
Let's not jump the gun too far or too fast here. We got summer ahead of us. And, Johnnie, we've heard you speak like we did last night here at Men and Boats in Devil's Lake. And we know you well enough. We know that every year in the spring, there's this little dance, right? About water warming up, cooling off. Where will the fish be? Where can you find them? How are you going to catch them? Are the pieces of the puzzle starting to come together as we look into the summer pattern starting to form?
Absolutely, Kyle, they are. And the thing is, there's so many pieces of a lake as complex as Devil's Lake, right? The first puzzle is water temperature. That one has come together very nicely. I can't hardly water even in the main lake now, where the surface temps aren't in the mid 60s, right? So water temperature, check that box. Doesn't matter where you go, the water's going to be warm enough, a walleye should be there. Finding food, there's plenty of places where these walleye can feed. There's plenty of freshwater. The fish we're catching, a lot of them are full of very, very tiny minnows. I can't quite tell what they almost look like small fathead minnows, but I'd be lying if I said that's the case for sure. I've even caught some fish with a small white bass and small yellow perch in their bellies as well. So if you find the food source, find warm water. That's two pieces of the puzzle. The third piece of the puzzle, though, is finding conditions where you can get to these walleye and they're not so skittish that they won't eat. And that has been challenging. Finding the water this year, it has been the hardest part of putting the puzzle together. Wind blows one day out of the west, so you go find east shorelines, wind pounding in, you get a little color in the water. By the end of the day, you figure it out, you catch 8, 10, or 12 fish, wake up the next morning, and the wind's blowing out of the east. So you got to do it all over again for the other shoreline. Takes half a day for that water to get dirty. At the end of the day, you catch a half a dozen, wake up the next morning, there's no wind. Go to your favorite spot, you can see the bottom 8 feet down, and you're like, what do I do now?
All right, Johnnie, I got a couple of questions.
It's just frustrating.
First off, with the warm water, with as quickly as it warmed up, to me, that tells me that there's going to be an explosion of weed growth. Have you seen that yet?
I have. The last several days, first week of the year that I've seen it, the long, stringy, grassy weed is growing really, really well. I don't prefer that weed, but it is weed growth and it will hide food. But the last couple days, big, broad-leafed, bright green cabbage, right? And it's out to about 4 feet right now. I have not found anywhere that the cabbage is growing all the way to the surface, but it's growing up, like I said, to within 4 feet of the surface. And we're starting to see that shallow crankbait bite kick in Devil's Lake, right? Your shallow shad raps, your shallow flicker shads, the old Rapala Escos. Guys are even throwing like I know the Linders are the Fabrics, the Berkeley Stunnas, more of your bass style jerk baits that only dive, 3, 4, 5 feet over the tops of the weeds, and they're doing fairly well catching fish that way. So yes, the summer patterns are starting to kick in. The weeds are, man, when the algae blooms, I hope I'm here. I hope I'm here that day, because the lake's just going to explode the first day that algae turns a watercolored green, and the fish are going to go mad. It's going to be fun.
Johnny, oftentimes you fish walleye enough, some lakes, you go to certain places to get the eaters, right? To take home some fish for the table. You go to certain places for tournament days where you're looking for the big fish. How is it shaping up on Devils? Are those fish all mixed together, or are they segregated where we need to be looking in different places?
I would say that they're all mixed together, but you're not necessarily going to catch all the sizes. And what I mean by that, spending most of my time casting shallow. When I'm back in the back bays off the main lake, the areas like Scotty mentioned where there's a little bit more weed growth, right now I seem to be catching eating size fish, right? Howard's Bay, New Mill Bay, the north end of 6 Mile Bay, all those places seems to be, 14 to 20 inch fish. What I have noticed is when I go to rocks, when I would fish more like I'm on Mille Lacs Lake or Leech Lake or Lake of the Woods, and I'm finding that rocky, bouldery Devil's Lake shoreline with the wind pounding in, I'm not getting the eating size fish. I'm getting the 23, the 24, the 26 inch fish. Not near as many as I am in the other places, but the quality is better. And then I know from the casino tournament last week that the guys that ran to the eastern end of the lake, which is notably deeper, cleaner, and more standing timber, did much, much better on the larger fish than the guys that fished the tournament on the west end of the lake that is known to be shallower and more weed growth. So if you are looking for that lunker, I would recommend going as far east as you can and work your way back towards the middle of the lake.
All right, Johnny, we only got about a minute left, and I wanted to ask you this. You talked about water clarity. If somebody cannot find clean water, let's say it's calm, and they can't find dirty water, would a slip bobber just stop the boat, quit moving it, and just throw out slip bobbers and wait? Will those fish come back to you?
They will come back, Scotty, but more important than that is getting your presentation further away from the boat. And I don't get to pick how far my clients can cast, but the ones that cast the furthest, whether it's with a jig or a crankbait or a bobber, are the ones catching the most fish in that crystal clear water. So do everything you can to make the longest cast possible when you're in that crystal clear water, and you'll definitely catch more fish.
That's a great tip, Johnny. How do we follow along with you?
JohnnyCandle.com is my website, and follow me on Facebook at Johnny Candle Professional Angler.
Perfect. Thanks, Johnny. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to doing it again.
Special thanks to our show sponsors, Ray Sport Marine, Adventure RV, Devil's Lake Tourism, Valley Truck Gear, Strand Ace Hardware, the Outdoor Adventure Foundation, the Outdoorsman, and Onyx Fish Midwest. And remember the code BA Outdoors. Go on to onyxmaps.com and get signed up. Thank you for tuning to today's Gone Outdoors. Follow along when you're on the water or in the field with Gone Outdoor Podcast. KFGO.com, KWSN.com, KELO.com, Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, and visit us at breweragreoutdoors.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Till next week, from Scotty and Kyle, we will be Gone Outdoors.